So guys, if you missed it, Destiny 2 did get kind of its big reveal. They showed us a big trailer that had gameplay for us. They gave us a bunch of information, specifically around the story that they're going to try to tell, and of course the PC version that they're going to be releasing as well. And a lot of you guys might not know this, I was actually a pretty big fan of the first Destiny to a point. After a while, when I was playing through it, I realized there was not a lot of care put into the presentation for the story. You, believe it or not, you had to kind of go on their website for Bungie and read a lot of the stuff on their site. It really wasn't presented well, and that kind of turned me off a little bit. I would have liked a little more effort at the time to tell a story in-game rather than expect you to go off and read about the lore on their website, on like these codex that they put up. And it looks like they're going to try to take care of that annoyance right away, because they did say there's going to be a much larger emphasis put on the story. And I think that's been kind of evident, especially when they showed the gameplay trailer. A lot of it in the beginning was them telling stories through cinematics, and I'm assuming at this point there'll be more cinematic trailers going forward. Especially when you play the game, you'll get more of those cutscenes and stuff, and maybe leading up to it they will try to flesh out the story well before the game actually comes out, because they will have E3 time, obviously, to talk about it. And then, of course, they could pretty much release trailers like these throughout the next couple months before we get to September 8th. But even after I was watching the live stream, I started to realize pretty quickly that the original Destiny was kind of a work in progress throughout most of its life, and it's almost like everything has been building up to Destiny 2, because Destiny 2 feels less like a sequel and more like a massive improvement, at least as much of an improvement as they can do with the time that they have to the first Destiny. And I'll kind of talk about that here while we go through this. So of course, I just talked about the story, how you have to kind of go out of your way to read about it if you want to know anything about what's going on. I mean, really, you could have played through the first Destiny and not bothered with much of the backstory, because for the most part, you go through raids, you get loot, you turn around, you go back through raids, you level up, you increase your light, you go back through, you get more loot, and that was kind of the idea. I mean, really, if you go through even like something like a MMO, like a World of Warcraft, you don't really need to worry so much about the story as you do just where do I level up, where do I get loot from, how do I join a clan, and how do I really succeed in this game. You don't really go back. I know some people really get into lore, but there are people who just get in the game, play it, and they don't at all worry about the story, mostly because it's not presented to them in a clean and easy to kind of digest fashion. But according to them, this will have a much greater emphasis on the story with, like I said, cinematic cutscenes, and really a lot more story missions from what they're saying, that to try to flesh it out better, as opposed to the first Destiny, where again they expect to go online and kind of read paragraphs of text to get an idea, or at least a grasp of what is happening in front of you when you play this game. And real quick, they pretty much throw us right into the fray with Destiny 2, where there's like an alien race, the Cabal, that are coming down and basically attacking you, the player, and everyone has to band together and go battle Dominus Gall, who is the leader of the Red Legion, who is this alien race, the Cabal. So really, it's pretty straightforward. They want you to go and attack and battle against this alien race. Very easy to obviously get you running and gunning that way, and that at least makes sense, but there is still a lot of story they can tell. Backstory for this alien race, backstory for your planet, this planet, another planet. There's a lot of stuff they can do, and I hope that they really get into really, I guess, the lore of the entire Destiny series. From there, they kind of got into the weapon classification system, which, if you're unaware, they kind of broke it down into primary, secondary, and heavy. So you had like rocket launchers, you had like auto rifles, then you had, of course, like pistols. So you kind of made a little loadout based on what you wanted, what sidearm you wanted. Did you want a sniper? Did you want like an auto rifle? Did you want a rocket launcher? And they were kind of divided into these subclasses. So you had some constraints based on those types. It looks like they've kind of changed it around a little bit. And I was looking at what they're talking about here. It looks like there will be different, for example, sniper rifles could be broken up into any one of these different categories. You won't necessarily have to bring a sniper rifle, a handgun, and then, like a rocket launcher. It's going to be kinetic, then energy, and power weapons instead. And based on what they're talking about, it'll be a little easier to mix and match guns or gun types, and you won't be locked completely into a very traditional, light, medium, heavy type setup. I was a little surprised that the classes are going to remain pretty much the same with Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. They're going to have more subclasses and stuff for it, which is great. I was hoping there would be more than 3 main classes. Maybe throw a few extras in there, because of course this is a sequel, right? I mean, it's not a half step, I assume, right? I mean, this is, I don't know. I was hoping for a little more with the class system, but again, I'll wait and see, because the thing about Destiny is Destiny 2 will be the same, more than likely. I think we all know this, where we will get expansion after new version after new version to buy. Maybe they drop some classes down the road. Now, Bungie did say they were going to revamp Crucible, which if you don't know what Crucible is, it was kind of the PvP of Destiny. Of course, you had kind of PvE, where you and a group would go out and raid, essentially. You'd go through different missions that they set up for you, essentially fighting a big boss at the end, and then getting some kind of loot or weapons or armor. And in this case, they're going to send you out with Destiny's PvP mode, where it will be 4v4 across the board. The one thing I really like here is they're talking about how they're going to revamp some of the HUD that you see on your screen. And the biggest thing I like is that they're going to give you the ability to see if any of the enemies you're looking at have their main super available, which is frustrating back then, because when you played the original Destiny, a lot of times you could run into what was mostly a buzzsaw without realizing it, because you can't tell if the person in front of you has their super until they are popping it and then killing you. And then they also talked about how there will be less loading time, which, if you played Destiny, you know what I'm talking about. To do anything, you had to leave the area you're in, go up to orbit, sit there in your ship, wait for everything to load, and be ready to go, and then you're off. So it was kind of a, I don't know, it took something that should have been very seamless, I think, and it just made it like you're waiting most of the time to get into a match, do any of that. It was more of a, I don't know, it kind of broke up the feel to me, and I like that they're getting rid of that. According to them, it'll be much more seamless. You will basically jump into a match after it's set everything up for you. So according to them, you'll get into a lobby, or you will just kind of wander around the planet until it's ready, and then you jump right in. I'll be more curious how that actually works when we get into the game and we can actually play it and it gets out to the world. Everyone just, stress tests the crap out of this thing. Speaking of stress testing, they did say if you pre-order this game, there will be a closed beta coming up over the summer. They haven't said much else other than that. Which systems, we don't know. Could be a Sony exclusive, probably not a Microsoft exclusive, since Sony seems to have the marketing on this. I assume it'll probably be consoles. We don't even know if there will be a PC closed beta. I have a strong feeling it'll mostly be centered around the consoles, so maybe a PS4, Xbox One closed beta. We'll have to wait for more information about that, though. And they're releasing clan support as well in Destiny 2, which is good because, of course, people were forming clans in the original Destiny, and it was a little harder because there wasn't much at all in terms of clan support. Looks like they're going to do full clan support here for Destiny 2 because they realized how much of an outcry there was for it to work in general. So you will have the ability, of course, to make groups of people that come together on what are specifically basically teams, and you can do things like raid or fight against other clans, for example. Now they have a few things set up so that if you like playing by yourself and you don't really want to join a clan, but maybe you want to jump into a raid, that clan can open up a spot. If they need an extra person, maybe not everyone in the clan is on, they have 3 people and they need 4, they can open a slot up and let you in to just help out for that match. You don't necessarily have to join the clan to run a raid with them. My biggest takeaway here is that they are finally supporting PC. Again, Bungie has not really done a lot for PC. If you really go back and look at it, I mean, they did Halo 3, of course, Halo 4, Halo 1, Halo 2. Those were all ported, though. Halo 1 and Halo 2, when they came to the PC, they were just kind of ported over, I believe, by another company. It wasn't Bungie sitting down and saying, let's develop specifically for the PC. In this case, though, they have the option to finally do that. Destiny 2 is coming to the PC, and it sounds like it's going to be the definitive version because console version's 30 frames per second, and it's going to be locked, I assume in that case, 1080p, maybe 900p for the Xbox One. Maybe we see 4K support for the Scorpio and the PS4 Pro, but if one console is running 30 frames per second, and there's crossplay there between, say, the regular Xbox One and the Scorpio, to keep things fair, you'd probably want to keep it 30 frames across the board. So unfortunately, because something like the Xbox One and maybe even the regular PS4 cannot get 60 frames across the board, unfortunately the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio probably won't either. But fear not, apparently the PC will be uncapped. Yes, the frame rate will have the entire top taken off of it. So if you have like dual 1080s or a Titan and you want to hit that 150 frame mark, you can if you really want to. But there were a few reports coming out, specifically IGN was talking about how they had one 1080 Ti and medium settings, they were getting 4K 60 frames across the board there. So based on system requirements, it may not be that difficult to play. We may be looking at a solid 1080p 60 frames per second performance from something like a GTX 970 even, which by the time that comes out, the game in September 8th, that card will be 2 years old now, so really that's not bad overall if the optimization is at least there for that 60 frame experience. They're also going to have 21:9 widescreen for PC, and they're going to have field of view, so you can kind of change, and that way you can see kind of stuff around you that's happening, because a lot of people did not like the field of view in Destiny. I think that's why this option was emphasized when they were talking about PC. You get shot from somebody right next to you and you can't see them. And you know what, that's great. I'm glad they're adding a lot of this stuff for the PC version. It does look like it's going to be a definitive version. The only problem right now is there is a chance it does not come out parity with the Xbox One and the PS4. There's a chance we don't see the PC version for weeks to even a month until after this, and that's not good, I think. I mean, so I would probably get it on the PS4 if the PC version is not there at launch with those two versions, and then I may be forced to really double dip at that point for the same game. I don't know if this is their plan, or if console versions will just get a slight head start, and just because. It's hard to say. And yes, they will probably get a lot of people to do that, to double dip, because the person wants to play on the PS4 or the Xbox One now and not have to wait for the PC version to jump in. And if you can't transfer your characters, that's really bad. So I guess final thoughts based on what we know now. I looked at Destiny 2, and while it looks good, it looks kind of like a Destiny 1.5. It looks almost like what they wanted Destiny to be in the first place, but they either ran out of time or didn't have the experience that they have now with players obviously playing through it. I mean, they could not have, obviously, a 2-year beta. It's not doable. A lot of this stuff that is going to Destiny 2, obviously they've experienced and gathered data on through Destiny 1. So Destiny 1 was needed to get Destiny 2, obviously, so they can figure out the bugs, figure out what people like, what they don't like, what they need to get better or enjoy the game. But I look at Destiny 2, and it just looks like Destiny 1, just better. And maybe that's what a sequel's supposed to be. Maybe I'm looking at it a little too specifically, and you know what, maybe it is going to be a much better Destiny 1, but I look at it and I don't see anything that's like crazy new, and it looks like Destiny 1.5. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, though. Maybe I'm off here. Maybe it looks like a whole new game to you, and you're very excited. You know what? I'm excited because I wanted to jump into Destiny again, but then I looked at it and realized I wanted it on a PC. I'm very happy that Destiny 2 will be on the PC. But that's it for now, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm very curious about Destiny 2, on what your opinion is, because I think almost everybody played the original Destiny because it was on 360, PS3, Xbox One, PS4, so all the major consoles at the time. Let me know what you guys think, though, and if you're looking forward to Destiny 2 after seeing the live trailer and gameplay. That's it for now, guys. I will see you next time.